Okay, welcome everybody. Thanks for joining us today. Today we're going to be talking about Data Wizard. This is part 2 in a 3-part series. If you joined us for our last one, you saw a lot of the settings we can do. And today we're going to cover just a couple more kind of everyday examples. So with that, Data Wizard, what is it? It's one of the tools in the Sim Project suite. It's intended for the everyday civil 3D user, those that are creating design and production drawings on a daily basis. Currently, our tool will work back to version 2019. When the new update comes in, we will be dropping 2019. So just so you know that. Okay, so why Data Wizard? Data Wizard is a versatile tool. It's very powerful. Lives right in the middle of your project suite set of tools there. We can create tables and legends. We can do quantities, and it's fully customizable. So we do quantity takeoffs. We can then export to Excel spreadsheets. We can create tabulation sheets, and we can save time by keeping those templates for use when things get repetitive. I don't know about how you guys do things, but I'm used to bringing tables along, legends along, and we're going to focus on keynotes today, but keynotes that you copy, you bring them over, you have blocks, they can get to be a real pain in a mess. We'll show you today how you can create keynote tables that you can reload, customizable, that recognize the keynotes that you're using. So the keynote table, today we're going to talk about how we define what we want in our keynote table. We're going to execute the extraction to a table. We're not going to get into Excel today because this is more of a drawing-based thing for keynote tables. We're going to show how you can sort things and update when things change. So with that, let's jump into Civil 3D and show you how it works. Okay, there we go. Okay, so here we have sort of a typical site, small parking lot, new building, whatever, in our boundary. And we have an XREF in, we have this drawing here, we have our base drawing, pretty plain, not much going on here, as you can see, pretty much just for demonstration purposes. So we have the proposed site right here, and this might look familiar, where we're calling out different things. So we don't clutter up the drawing and make things, easy for bidders, construction people, whatever. So we got some call outs for curb and gutter, some pavement call outs, catch basins, some greenery here. And we need to create a table that so people can figure out what that all means. So what it uses is typical AutoCAD stuff. So there's keynotes here, and they all have attributes to them for multi-leaders. Probably you're doing them that way. I hope you're doing them that way. That's the most efficient way, in my opinion, to do them. And that's what we're going to be leveraging today. That and our table styles to create tables. So these are all however you created your tables for how you want them to appear. Today we're going to just be really looking at our model space and our paper space. So we can create this table in model space and viewport it in, if you like, or we can put it directly into the drawing. and we'll get into that as we go along here. So with that, let's open up Data Wizard and Setup Table. So right here we have the interface. If you've seen some of our other ones, it kind of walked you through that. I mentioned there's an XREF in there. Today we're going to extract some data from the XREF. I'm not going to do that right away to show you what we get. We'll use the site plan on the next one when we do this in Paperspace. But for now, let's just kind of go through and see what we have here. So we'll just take a quick spin through here. That's the options table. Here's where you set your template path. When you create templates, you can load them. I've created a few ahead of time. We can load those if we have time, just to show you how we can switch back and forth. Sort of the power of Data Wizard. So at any time you can save a template right here. After you get through stuff, every page you'll have that opportunity to do that. So what do we have here? Here's all the things that we can pick to put in a legend, table, quantity, takeoff, what have you. So let's just check everything for now and see what all is in the drawing. So right away we've got COGO points, we've got feature lines, we've got multi-liters, and we've got polylines. Okay, none of that's really going to come into play. I'm going to do a full load just to show you the difference. But for now, and it doesn't hurt to leave these selected because they have 0, but we're going to go through this, take those out of there. It's because it seems like it works a little faster. It doesn't have to look for all these things. Oops, I'm going to leave that one on for right now. With that, for multi-liters is what we're focusing on today. So I just want to show you this, how we do combined, separate items with summary. So first let's do it combined like this, and I'll show you what that's going to do. So let's go back. What we're looking to do is we're looking to make a table that includes all of these keynote callouts and what they're for. So let's move through and let's see. Here we can see what all we have right here. So here's what everything that it found through those checkboxes. So COGO points, and these were created, these catch basins, these trees, shrubs, were created using COGO points. You could put them in as blocks if you wanted to and give them a description. I choose to put COGO points in there just for staking purposes, mainly if you want to export them. Then you'll have the coordinates and whatnot, which don't show up. Well, they can show up, I guess, if you want them to. For this, we don't want to. So let me back up here. Well, let me go one step further. So our multi-liters right now, so we combined everything. So this is what we're finding. We're finding keynote circles with the numbers, what they are, and then here's a description of what they are. And that description comes from the attribute that's in there. So let me back up real quick here and show you the difference. So if I come here and I say separate these items, so we got 33 of them, and you clearly saw we didn't have because it combined, it knew. Now it's going to take all 33 of these and throw them in here. So now it doesn't know what they mean, but it knows we've got this many keynote circles, a hex, diamonds, squares, and so on. If we put this one, separate items with a summary, what it's going to do is it's going to still include all of them. But in the next screen, it's going to say, okay, circle 3, how many times does that appear? And this if you want to count things, this is a good way to do it, to verify. But so we've got 3 of them, we've got 2 of those, and so on. Okay, we don't need that today. That's not what we're going to do. And in most cases, your combine is going to be the way to go. So let's move along here. So data to extract. What do we want to extract? So right now we've got additional data and we've got graphic, and that's it. If you wanted to, like I said, if you wanted to put descriptions on here, layer name, a whole myriad of things, depending on what you want to calculate. Northern easting, if you wanted to do some staking for, say, those trees, like I suggested before. Your object name, I'll check that one on right now. What else? I don't think we need count, elevation, none of that. Let's just go with that for right now. So what are we going to get? We're going to get that. We're going to get the COGA points. We're going to get only that many of the Keynote multi-leader tags. And we're going to get 1 line type, 1 polyline. So here's the settings for this one. Here we can data sort. We'll cover this in a second. We'll do some sorting through here. Different ways to do that. I'm going to leave that like that right now. And just so we can see what we're getting, I'm going to include headers. All that's going to give us is this right here and show us what we're getting. And this kind of is self-explanatory how you want it to look. Uppercase. I'm going to leave it at uppercase. And we're just going to say finish right here. So I'm going to drop this in. And it's not going to look good because I didn't set it right. So let me erase that and go through it again. Missed that setting there to show you guys. We'll get to that. So we can just step right through, just hit a refresh just in case we lost something. Next. So right here. So I accidentally included, I didn't point this out, I included the wrong table style. So this is model space. We want our model space table style legend here. And so we're going to have to change that a little bit to fit our model space. I happen to know that this is going to work with a 10 and 1 should work. And then the symbols we want to come in at 1 to 1. Everything else we want just like that. We'll just leave that header. You can type whatever you want up here. I typed Keynote because that's what this is going to be in the end. So let's just say finish again and see what we get. Okay, so here's what we get. Now we're getting layer description, raw description, which we only have of these couple on the shrub and the catch basin. Tree is just a generic tree, which symbol, which why you would use the keynotes to do that. So no object names, no anything. So we know we can come in and we can get rid of that, we can get rid of that, we can get rid of that, we can get rid of everything. But we want to include additional data to get the descriptions for some of these, like this right here. So tag number 5 is 7-inch bituminous drive lane. Okay, and when you make these attributes, it's important when you're entering what you're calling out here for a description, that if it's DSC, it's not going to know if something changed. So you'll get 2 of those. So just make sure if you make them, it's always the same. If you want to use an abbreviation or the full word, just be consistent. So here's our tags right here, and you can see they kind of came in a jumbled order there too. We can clean that up. So let's go through and clean that up for model space. And we're going to load it into site plan 1 via a viewport. So this is going to include everything that's in model space. Let's go back to our table setup and clean that up. sometimes it's kind of good to do a full load like that. So let me show you something else. Just so you can see what's out there and what you might want to get. But if you notice right here, this tree 20, that's in this XREF right here. That lives in the XREF. So it didn't count that because it's not in our list because we didn't check that. We never said to include stuff from the XREF. So this time we'll grab that too. So you just click right here, it knows it. If you have several XREFs in here, you can check which ones you want. I only have the one here. So I'm going to check this one, and it's going to go and it's going to find everything that's in that XREF that's defined in our criteria here. So if I hit refresh, you're going to see some of these numbers jump a little bit. So in this case, this time we know we want to get rid of that. We know we want to get rid of that. Oh, no, we don't want to get rid of it. Yeah, we do. Yeah, we want to get rid of that. We want to keep that and get rid of that. So really, we're just focusing on our multi-liters today. And we're going to use combined so we don't get all of them. And if you remember, it was 33 before, and now it's 34. So it's finding that guy right there. So we'll jump out here to the next screen, and here's what we're getting. So we said we wanted to clean up some of those other things that we didn't need. So we want the graphic. We don't need the layer description. We don't need the rows. We don't need any of that. So let's just get rid of all of that. We'll leave the object name. I don't think, let's clear that too. And let's leave the additional data. So it's going to be a pretty basic table right here, keynote table, which they are. And so we included additional data. So what is that? Well, I said before, you want to keep this the same. So if some of them had DSC versus description, that would show up here too. It would know that there's other attributes attached to some of those tags. With consistency right here, so we're going to check that on for that one. We got to go through and we got to do it to all of them. And this is where a template comes in handy. Once you get all this, you get it looking the way you want, you save it out as a template, and it will save all of these settings in here. So you won't have to do that again, pick through them. It'll be pretty much just go through, click, sort, load. And if you're doing repetitive things, if you're doing like franchise sites, something like that, where everything is always the same, this can be a huge time saver. So we set our data to extract. We're going to pull all those. If we want to exclude any of these, we could right here, as we've shown in some of our other presentations. So here, everything was good here. I'm going to take the headers off this time. We're going to leave that. We like that. So here's the data sorting. So it's going to come in kind of a jumbled mess right now. And I told it to include this tree too. You can see here's that tree right here. Existing fir tree, existing fir tree. So let's sort how we want to sort these. Let's sort them by, let's go ahead and say sort objects by, or sort by objects. So they're closed up, and now you can see it came in 1, 2, 20. So these use like the same criteria as like an Excel for sorting, where it doesn't know the best for 20 versus 2, so it's 2-0. There are some ways to get around that, but we can just move them around too if we want. But we'll see that after we load it. Go through one more time and see how things look. So we got everything is still set here. If it looked good, I would say save template. But let's finish it and see what it looks like compared to the first iteration of this table. So now that table's looking a lot better. So it's showing us everything we want right here. Okay, we've got our trees, got our pavement, we've got different curb calls out here, catch basins. Looks pretty much like we would want it to look. But now let's say we came along here and we said, oh, we made our table and everything, and somebody reviewed it and said, hey, we need to remove this tree right here. Can you put a tag in there for that? Sure, why not? Let's do it. Then we can just update that table and you'll see it will show up, but we'll do the sorting after that. So I'm on Keynote Square. For vegetation stuff, we want it to be the circle, which is, oops, right there at the front of the pile. So let's put that in. Was that, we'll call that 9. I don't remember for sure. I think it's 9. And for a description, we'll just say remove existing tree. We'll say okay. Now we should be able to just go back to project. We should be able to just update that table and that should show up. You should see a number 9 pop into this list. There we go. So let's grab that. We're going to do update from read from table. So it knows we picked the table already. If you didn't have one, this would be the place to pick it from. But we picked it ahead of time. You could bypass that if you wanted to pick a different table or whatever. Now it says that. Not sure exactly what happened there. It should have updated. Could be because of the I2. Could be confused. That's okay. We needed to redo that table anyway to reorganize these things. So let me first get that one out of the way. Let's go through the table setup one more time. Now, like I said, once you do this and you save the template, you won't have to do it again unless things change, like right there. So we can pretty much just step right through. We've got everything looking the way we want it to, except for our sorting. So we're pretty close right here, but we don't want 1 to 20. We want the 20 to be probably at the bottom, or if you want all your circles grouped together, let's do circles grouped together. So I'll stick it one more down. I'll stick it right there. So all the circles are together, the hex, squares, triangles, so on. So let's say finish. I'll pop it in right here. Let's try that. So that looks pretty good to me, like what I would consider to be the finished product. So let me delete this right here. And being that these are AutoCAD generated tables, Civil 3D, whatever, using that style, they behave just like that. Nothing proprietary here. So if I want to justify this, unfortunately, we don't have anything in there to do that. It's still AutoCAD functionality. So you just say middle left and that should be done. And I will note if you save it as a template, you will have to do that every time. So let me just slide this over. Whoops. Let me just slide it over here a little closer. Okay. So in the site one, we'll load it via a viewport. So I had already created a viewport here. So the viewport matches this scale. They're both 30 scale. Let's get in there and let me come out here and zoom in. Just drag it in there where it looks better. There we go. Okay, just like that. Everything's there. Because of our settings in model space versus viewport space, all these sizes, your keynotes all match. All this comes from your table, what you want your text to look like. We don't have anything proprietary over that. Like I said, however you create your table, that's what you get right there. So that didn't take very long to create that keynote table, and we even added, changed, and we've got it all in there. So let's do one into the model space right here, or the paper space, I mean. So we want that to be 1-to-1, and in this case, we're going to include everything again in that model, or in that view layout tab. It's going to drop in here. So we can go through the same settings again and just change everything. Or I have saved one for this to show you how easily this is. So from the setup table, I can just go put this in right away. Right here, this paper space legend keynotes. I'm going to open that, and right away, I don't know if you noticed, but it already knows because it's set up for this site plan 2. If it wasn't site plan 2, you could sure delete that out of there and grab the next viewport. Unfortunately, you can only do one at a time here. I should also say that you can include additional drawings if you wanted to pull data from additional drawings. Let's just do this real quick. So I'm going to open those, and I'm going to move on to the next screen. And I'm going to, let's do a quick check all, so I can always reload that one. And a refresh to show you now what it's finding in those other drawings. So as you can see, considerable amounts of data have been discovered in those other drawings. I was just showing you that. We're not going to do that today. I'm just showing you that how it works here. And this here too, you can take them out one at a time if you want, or you can take them all out. So if there are drawings you want, some you don't want, and so on. So let's move to the next one again. Let's hit a refresh. You'll see all these change again. Let's go back and just reload that template so we don't have to go check all that stuff. Okay, we'll hit a refresh here. We're back to where we were. We'll go to the next screen. Might have to do some sorting. We'll see. Should have hung on to the, I had these all checked, like I said before, so you don't have to check them again. So it's everything is selected. And now it even changed to the size. Everything's sized the way we want. Symbols are going to come in at 1-to-1. We'll leave all that. Let's see how we're doing on the sorting. Again, it went with the 2-0. So we'll just move that one down. Try a different sort method on here. Try, just to show you, let's try a graphic. So now we've still got 1, 2. Still not exactly how we want it. Let's try description and see what happens. So here now it went by, pulled out the numbers first, and then it went in alphabetical order after that. I think object is our best bet. Excuse me. So let's go back to object. So we're sorted here again. We're pretty close. Let's again drag this. Whoops, this tree, this 20. Let's drag it below. Over and get in there. Okay, let's do that again. So we've got everything together, our circles, our hexes. We're all good to go. Say finish. And we drop it in right next to the viewport, and there it is, live in your drawing. Just that quick and easy. And I done lots of these before, and this sure seems a lot easier to me. So I think that's really all I had to show today. If you have any questions, go ahead and you can type them in, or, excuse me, frog in my throat, or we can have a little Q&A after. So if you can think of anything. That's really all I had to show you. Let me double check my notes here and see that I went through everything. And I think I've got everything covered that I wanted to show. Yeah. So, okay. Let me back up one here. I think I skipped one today. Yeah. So Data Wizard, how do I get it? It's part of the CTC Civil Project Suite. We also have the Civil Management Suite. If you don't have it, you can contact your reseller or go to our website at ctcsoftware.com. So with that, that concludes it today. If you have any questions, please type them in. Otherwise, I appreciate you joining us today, and we will see you for our next presentation. Thanks again. Have a great day, everybody.